Lost again, going back around, dreaming of a time when I get things right. Lost in the shadows of a million stars, shouldn't they enlighten my near and far?
Welcome to my November TBR. My name is Tanya. I'm super excited to share with you guys the books that I plan on reading in November. I want to keep it quite low-key, quite chill. I don't have many books. I actually, before I even hit record, I was like, what do I want to read? What am I in the mood for? It is officially brown fall, as I like to call it, where we're just about getting ready to get into the feeling of wintertime and Christmas time, the holidays. So I just want to basically read things that that's so stupid. I was gonna say make me feel brown. No, but basically things that make you feel like maybe dark academia feels, like college campusy, like a little bit more on the educational-ish side, which is probably why people do the nonfiction November books. But a few more classics, I suppose, a little bit more of like an older, ancient, regal, Regency type of feeling. So those are the books that I was looking at when I was checking out my bookshelves. I was like, what exactly am I in the mood for? It's not necessarily spooky season, and it's not really holiday season. And of course you can read spooky books in November. Not saying that you can't, but I was like, I don't know what I want to read. So I decided to just kind of go with the theme of brown covers, and the brown covers that I ended up getting are books that I actually do want to read as well. First up on the docket, I've already started filming this video and I can't wait to bring it to you guys. It's a cozy video, a Gilmore Girls inspired type of day, where we are gonna read A Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway. I got this gorgeous copy here from Amazon, and I started to read this. I started reading it. I don't know how far I got. Oh my gosh, look. These are where they went. Look at this. I mean, they're double-sided, but yeah, these are Carolyn's like postcards in a sense. They're not postcards, but like they're author portraits, and I guess this is where they were. I kind of was looking for them, and I pretty much used them for bookmarks, as bookmarks. I think I have another one. And no, this is a postcard. You see that? And boom, the classic World War II end. That kiss, that famous kiss. Okay, and it looks like I found somebody else who'd be perfect for this month, but you know, really last month was his month. Edgar Allan Poe. But yeah, A Farewell to Arms, I really am excited to read this, not only because it is on Rory's reading list, but it kind of just feels like, you know, wartime and that kind of old historical type of fiction is meant for this particular month. For example, if I'm able to, I still don't have this one in my possession, I would love to maybe reread The Rose Code by Kate Quinn. I believe that's her name. If there's one book that you should walk away with from this November TBR, it should be The Rose Code. It is such an iconic book about these three women who are helping the war effort, and we go into their love lives, exactly their role in the beast, the machine of trying to, you know, basically stop the Axis powers. So such a good, and it's their relationship, the relationship that they have with the men, their role as women. So it's so good. But yeah, I started reading A Farewell to Arms by Hemingway, and I really enjoyed the simplicity of his writing. I loved how you felt like you were truly like on a trail in Italy or France or Europe, Austria. I forgot exactly where this takes place, but it felt like you were truly on a trail, and you could hear the pebbles under your feet as you're reading such a book like this. It feels like you're part of the war effort. You can see the, you know, the military the military outfits. You can see the weapons that are used. You can feel the heat and the danger that is, you know, imminent. And then there's this kind of sweet love story that's brewing. I don't know how it all ends, but yeah, you just feel like this very simplistic, earthy way in his writing. I don't know how to describe it. It's just super Americana, and it's easy to read. I love books like this, and I hope that I'm not crushed by the end of it all. But that's one of the books that I definitely will be finishing for the month of November. Another excellent classic by Victor Hugo is, and you see why I ended up picking such a book. The cover is so stunning. I ended up getting this off of eBay. I don't know if you can tell what it is. Yeah, there we go. So this is going to be The Hunchback of Notre Dame, The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo. It is such a fragile copy that I have here of Hugo's work of being disfigured. Oh man, from what I understand about the Hunchback is that there's a, this is the story that I know. There's a man named Quasimodo, and he lives in this bell tower in Notre Dame, the cathedral in Paris, France. And he kind of is quite disfigured and kind and ugly, and he has this crazy hunchback on him, and he is swooning and in love for this woman named Esmeralda, who's a gypsy who doesn't necessarily give him the time of day. She's looking more towards the captain of the army, the police force, I don't know, Phoebus. And yeah, and that's just, it's like somewhat of a weird love story. And then the villain in this is a priest. How the audacity, okay? The audacity. But that happens sometimes. But his name is Frollo, I don't know. You guys, this is something that I know in French because of this 1998-99 musical that was done so immaculately. It is just such a beautiful musical. If you guys enjoy or understand, you don't even have to understand. I mean, like how many songs do you guys listen to that you have no clue what the person is saying? But if there's, yeah, besides Taking Away the Rose Code by Kate Quinn, if you want to be elevated and see true beautiful music, go check out the 1999 play musical that was done. I'll link it in the description box. It's just, guys, this is my bread and butter. This is me. This is my life. Like, this is just something I grew up on. So iconic, so beautiful. I sing along to everything, and that's kind of where I know the story of. I know that there was a Disney movie as well, and I don't know. You know, I think I've only seen it like once. So finally, I would love to read the book to see what the heck is going on in here. What on earth is going on in here? And yeah, I'm so excited for this. So I'm hoping that it's not too crazy, because Victor Hugo has written one of the toughest books for me to get through, which is Les Miserables, and that one is iconic. That one, when I was reading it, it really felt like I knew, like I could see his signature, basically Victor Hugo's signature. It's like, oh my gosh, there are certain things in here that remind me of that 1998 play. I don't know how to explain it, but I do have a video on Les Miserables. I'll link it in the cards as well. So yeah, very excited about this. Let me read just maybe the first, I read a word here. I was like, I don't want to read that out loud. But anyway, it's fine. So The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Book 1, Chapter 1, The Great Hall of the Palace of Justice. It is this day, 348 years, 6 months, and 19 days. Oh my gosh, it sounds like the musical. It sounds like the musical. Since the good people of Paris were awakened by a grand peal from all the bells in the 3 districts of the Cité, the Université, and the Ville. What am I saying? The Ville. Okay. The 6th of January 6th, 1482, was nevertheless a day of which history has not preserved any record. There was nothing worthy of a note in the event which so early set in motion the belles and the citizens of Paris. It was neither an assault of the Picards or the Burgundians, nor a procession bearing the shrine of some saint, nor a mutiny of the students, nor an entry of our most redoubted lord, Monsieur the King, nor even an execution of rogues of either sex before the Palace of Justice of Paris. It's giving Alexandre Dumas as well. Sorry for saying giving. But yeah, it definitely reads like that as well. So I'm enjoying those two. Those are some iconic French authors. I know there are more. If you guys have any suggestions for me, leave them below. But yeah, I can tell I'm probably gonna love this. So this is another pick for November. I just think that it was just perfect. And this gorgeous chocolatey brown, leather bound. It has gorgeous foiling, and it says here it's from the International Collectors Library. That's what it says here on the note, on the spine. Oh my gosh, I'm ruining it. And then, ooh, okay, here's another one. This one actually started my booktube channel on, and now I don't know what this channel is anymore, but I do a lot of bookish videos and vlogs, as you guys know. But Politically Correct Bedtime Stories, Modern Tales for Our Life and Times by James Finn Garner. You guys, I really loved just picking apart a little story every night. When I started reading this out back in like 2022, 2021, when I first started my booktube, and it was just such an activity to do when it was snowing and I was freezing cold. The radiator was going and I was just embraced in just all these books that I never really picked up. And that's one of the reasons why I started booktube, was because I was like, oh gosh, I have so many books and I never ever hold myself accountable and in reading them. They need to be read. So this is a fun little pocket-sized almost book that you can get through in one day about politically correct classic kind of bedtime stories, the ones that everybody kind of knows. I'm going to read off some of them to you. We have Little Red Riding Hood, The Emperor's New Clothes, The Three Little Pigs, Rumpelstiltskin, one of my favorites. That's absolutely one of my favorites. The Three Codependent Goats Gruff, Rapunzel, Cinderella, Goldilocks, Snow White, Chicken Little, The Frog Prince, Jack and the Beanstalk, The Pied Piper of Hamelin, and that's it. So yeah, this is about like 73 pages, can be done in one sitting, and this is what the dust jacket says. Once upon a time, in the olden days, heavy-set middle-aged men would congregate in their elitist clubs, sit in overstuffed leather chairs, smoke air-choking cigars, and pitch story ideas and plots to each other. Problem was, these stories, many of which found their way into the general social consciousness, reflected the way in which these men lived and saw their world. That is, the stories were sexist, discriminatory, unfair, culturally biased, and in general demeaning to witches, animals, goblins, and fairies everywhere. Finally, after centuries of these abusive tales, which have been handed down unknowingly from one male-biased generation to the next, James Fingarner, our author, has taken it upon himself, that's right, yet another man, to enlighten and liberate these classic bedtime stories and retell them in a way that is much more in keeping with the society in which we live today. So I think this is just such a perfect thing, especially in our social climate, as you guys know. I love things like this, like humor and like the way that he's gonna break down all of these classic fairy tales that we quite adore, So yeah, this is another look of the book, and I just love it. One of the first, if you guys go back and see my fuzzy camera work and whatnot, that would be one of the first ones that we ended up discussing on the channel. Oh, you guys know I have to check Libby. I'm gonna check on here to see if I have anything ready. I know that Intermezzo by Sally Rooney is available for me. Oh, and I terribly wanted to read, I hope they didn't just because I've been holding it off a little bit. I wanted to read The Women by Kristen Hanna. Intermezzo is one that just came out, brand new, I think in November, early November. You can literally see it right there, waiting for me. As you guys can see. And Sally Rooney. And then Kristen Hanna, The Women. Everybody just seems to really love Kristen Hanna, and I just thought, oh, historical fiction, possibly maybe November could be the time for that. I don't have much else. Everything else is for the previous months. My gosh, let me see if I have anything in my holds really quickly. The Spell Shop still never came, guys, so maybe we'll read that. It doesn't necessarily have to be an October read. Yeah, I have a couple of Christmas things that are waiting for me, and Nothing Like the Movies. I think I also have Nothing Like the Movies, so possibly maybe Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter can be read as well, because I did just get that. I had to order it via Amazon because when I did do my bookstore vlog that you guys might have seen, the bookstore vlog, everything was not available. I'm like, I don't know how you want us to be able to come into the store and get books if nothing is there. And of course, I know, it's not really their fault. People are coming to get these books, right? Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. That could be one here. It says, for Half a Soul, witty, whimsical, brimming over with charm, Olivia Atwater's delightful debut will transport you to a magical version of Regency England, where the only thing more meddlesome than a fairy is a marriage-minded mother. It's difficult to find a husband in Regency England when you're a young lady with only half a soul. Ever since she was cursed by a fairy, that sounds actually quite perfect for this time, Theodora Eddings has had no sense of fear or embarrassment, an unfortunate condition that leaves her prone to accidental scandal. Dora, oh okay, Theodora. I was like, who's Dora? Dora hopes to be a quiet, sensible wallflower during the London season, but when Elias Wilder, the strange, handsome, and utterly ill-mannered Lord Sorcerer discovers her condition. She is instead drawn into peculiar and dangerous fairy affairs. If her reputation can survive both her curse and her sudden connection with the least liked man in all high society, then she and her family may yet reclaim their normal place in the world. But the longer Dora spends with Elias, the more she begins to suspect that one may indeed fall in love with even with only half a soul. That sounds so cute. That sounds so delightful. That sounds just right up my alley. So did the 7-year slip, but we all know how that turned out. But yeah, that's about all I have in Livy. I am basically settling into figuring out the end of the year TBR. Just a couple of, whimsical, Christmassy, holiday, snowy, cold type of books that I may want to read in December. So look forward to that video. But yeah, we're dwindling down our, the volume of books that we are going to be reading. And we're just kind of like bringing it down because eventually I will have to film my worst books of 2020. Guys, I was gonna say 2023. What year is it? Huh? I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. Maybe it'll wake me up just a little bit, Oh, it's hot. Oh, but it warmed my throat just right. Do you guys ever just drink black coffee? I do that sometimes. It's probably better for you too. Used it in my little French press. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go back to the physical books that I do have here in my possession. This one I picked up because it kind of reminded me of this book, this movie, called School Ties. It stars Brandon Fraser, Matt Damon, I think Ben Affleck is in there, possibly Cole Hauser. There are these other cute guys, I can't remember. Oh, Chris O'Donnell, he's like Robin maybe in Batman, the one with George Clooney. There's a few people. Anyway, School Ties, super cozy, dark academia, November vibes, rainy days, academic settings, Harvard, a little bit of a snooty, Shakespeare, pompous, elitist kind of vibe to it. And that's why I picked up this book, Old School, which is a novel by Tobias Wolff. Yeah, I don't know, something about the way that the boys are just sitting here and it looks like somewhat of a great hall. Imagine like Harry Potter. But yeah, something about the way that the boys are sitting here with their heads bowed. They're probably doing a prayer right before they're going to eat. It just kind of made me feel like, oh, this just reminds me of School Ties, Yeah, I don't know what this book is about whatsoever. I got it because of the vibes. Such a silly word, vibes. So let me see here if I can quickly discern what the heck what on earth this book is about. I'm trying to stop saying heck. I'm trying my best to even remove that from my vocabulary. You guys know that yeah. Anyway, let's see here. So, determined to fit in at his New England prep school, the narrator has learned to mimic the bearing and manners of his adoptive tribe while concealing as much as possible about himself. I love that. Whenever I find people are trying to, not necessarily code switch, I think that's what they call it, but kind of like fit in by like acting like whoever they are in front of, like a little bit of a chameleon. I think of Andy from The Office. There's this particular clip where I don't think he was arrested, or he probably was fired or moved to a different company, and he was like starting to like mirror the person that he's in front of. It was just so, I was like, this is perfect.
I'll be the number 2 guy here in Scranton in 6 weeks. How? Name repetition, personality mirroring, and never breaking off a handshake. Hello.
Ah, you must be Andy Bernard. Aloha and welcome.
And you must be Michael Scott. Aloha and hello.
Oh, very good. You know who I really like is this guy, Andy Bernard. He has got this very likable way about him.
This is just hilarious to me. Something like this, I'm not like laughing right now, but like, oh my gosh, I can't tell you the outburst that could happen because of that particular scene. I'll see if I could try to insert it.
Michael had a little chat with corporate, and they decided to send me to management training. Anger management, technically. This whole thing's supposed to take 10 weeks. I expect to be done in 5. How? Name repetition, personality mirroring, and positive reinforcement through nods and smiles. Don't worry about all Andy Bernard. I'll be back. Just like Rambo.
Oh, hi, you must be Andy.
Oh, hi, yes, I am, and you must be Marcy.
That's right, it's so good to meet you.
That's so good to meet you.
Thanks, well, you ready to have some fun?
Yeah.
But it's just so funny. Andy is ridiculous. And if you've ever seen The Office, which is a great fall show. So cozy. Who's your favorite character? I really would have to think about that. I really would have to think about that. Or what's your favorite episode? Oh my gosh. So yeah, this guy is mimicking the bearing and manners of his adoptive tribe while concealing as much as possible about himself. His final year, however, unravels everything he's achieved and steers his destiny in directions no one could have predicted. The school's mystique is rooted in literature. We love that. And for many boys, this becomes an obsession. Editing the review and competing for the attention of visiting writers whose fame helps to perpetuate the tradition. Robert Frost, soon to appear at JFK's inauguration, is far less controversial than the next visitor, Anne Rand. Have you guys ever read any of her books? Atlas Shrugged. Uh-oh. But I don't even know what that book is about. Let me know if you guys know, because I don't know. I just heard that it's controversial. No clue what it is about. But the final guest is one whose blessing a young writer would do almost anything to gain. Okay, we're gonna stop right there. That kind of sounds pretty great. And this book it has deckled edges, guys. I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, the deckled edges, I think that's what they call them. And it is approximately 195 pages. Once again, that's a book that you can totally do in one sitting, you know? So old school. Yeah, it just seems so like where are you, boy? It has a JFK feeling, like prep school, New England, Hyannisport, you know, just that kind of feeling. So that's why I mentioned School Ties. Oh, this is another book that I can peruse during some downtime if ever any of these books are giving me trouble and I just want to step away from anything too difficult, any hard literature. This is from Nobel Prize winner in literature, Orhan Pamuk. I think he's a Turkish writer. I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 of his books and I want to read them all because I did a paper on him back in college. I don't know, university, college, I don't know, right at the beginning of college in an English class. And I'm really, you know, I was really intrigued by him. Like, let me finish a thought. So yeah, I did a paper on him back in college and it was just so cool to find out about him. And I don't know, his writing to me was very cozy. It was very palatable. It was very touching and heartwarming. I don't know. And again, it is translated works, but they grabbed my attention and I thought they were quite great. So I found this book years ago, I forget where, it must have been a thrift store. Orhan Pamuk, The Innocence of Objects. And if you guys know anything about me and my lifestyle and the way that I like to do things around my home, I'm super into somewhat kitschy, collectible, tchotchke kind of things, more or less. If you know anything about like the I Spy books from this photographer Walter Wick, and he just released one. I talked about it in my October TBR. Yeah, Curiosity Shop, I think it's called. I love that kind of cozy, nostalgic, eerie way of displaying objects in a home. It is it's not unsettling, but it's just something so mysterious and like inviting about it. It's a little bit kiddish, it's a little bit childish and sweet, and you know, the innocence of objects. But yeah, I just love seeing people's things. It's like being in a very curated thrift store. I don't like for it to look like clutter. I do try to work on that, sometimes hiding away things, but I do love a very whimsical and like it just kind of pulls you in. It's like an eerie like thing of like older toys and older items that are just like displayed in such a peculiar way. I don't know how to explain it, but the I Spy kind of look, that's me right there. So that's why I ended up picking up this book. What it is really is, here he is in the back. Okay, and once again, I'm gonna show you guys the front. As you guys can see, it's like just a few little knickknacks and few items here. I'm just gonna read to you guys just the first sentence or so. So this is a culmination of decades of omnivorous collecting. Orhan Pamuk's Museum of Innocence in Istanbul, was once known as Constantinople, uses his novel of lost love, The Museum of Innocence, as a departure point to explore the city of his youth. The Innocence of Objects, Pamuk's catalog of his remarkable museum. He writes about things that matter deeply to him, the proper role of the museum, the psychology of the collector, and the photography of old Istanbul. So yeah, that's what it really is. It's just, look, I don't know. I don't know if people would be creeped out by things like this, but there's just this coziness about this. It's like things that have been They're quite unique. They're rare items. There are photographs, and yeah, it just looks like a place where you can just, I don't know, take a look at these things that will never be curated in the same way ever again. Look at this, for example. I hope you guys can see that because I can't see the camera viewfinder anymore. But yeah, this is like a page about like just these different combs and brushes that he has collected, bobby pins and little jewels that you put on like within a comb, more or less. I hope you guys saw that. But yeah, very excited to kind of dabble into that during my downtime. I also have the Island of Dr. Moreau. This one, I gravitated towards it because it is feeling like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, that kind of feeling. So this one was written in 1896. The Island of Dr. Moreau is one of the earliest scientific romances. It says here this is a commentary on Darwin's theory of evolution, which H.G. Wells stoutly believed. The story centers on the depraved Dr. Moreau. Something about that is giving Shutter Island vibes about it as well, and Frankenstein as well. So yeah, so the story centers on the depraved Dr. Moreau. I have no idea where I left off my camera. I should have known. Yeah, but I'm gonna see here, the story centers on the depraved Dr. Moreau, who conducts unspeakable animal experiments on a remote tropical island with hideous human-like results. We're gonna stop right there. The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells. Okay, and then last but not least, I polled everybody about Jane Austen. Sense and Sensibility won for, I believe it was September or October, I think it was September. And then Northanger Abbey, I've been thinking about it for a while, and a lot of people have also mentioned that it's really a great fall book around this time of the year, around fall. So I have this copy of Northanger Abbey. I wonder what's up with all the keys. What does this mean, Jane Austen? So yeah, brand new copy of it. Northanger Abbey has one of the like little built-in bookmarks as well. Yeah, I don't know what this is about, but I'm very excited to get into it. That would be incredible if I could read 2 Jane Austen works before the end of the year. So I just went through the book, Northanger Abbey, and it looks like this is the book, really, like the bulk of it. The beginning is a lot of notes about the author, just like a huge introduction. So not much is going on here. So we're going from page 16, give or take, to about page 235. So not that long as well. I really was trying my very best to pick books that are quite small. That are quite small and
Are you through?
Are you through? Yeah. It's not like I didn't even know that beeping was gonna come. I'm the one who did that. I ended up putting some pizza in the oven, the toaster oven. Okay, you guys don't care about that, do you? But yeah, I chose some books that were like pretty small and just simple for me. I don't know, I was in somewhat of a reading slump in October. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because there's so many different options and you want to get to just about everything that just picking up one book sounds like a lot. So I ended up not reading as much as I wanted to for October, and that's totally a-okay. I think in January I might even film a video about reading slumps and things like that, and how it's perfectly normal and perfectly reasonable to not read a book, you know, every single day or even for that month. You know, this is something that is supposed to be fun and a hobby, and it may not even be a reading slump. It's just what we call it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm in a reading slump. Like, you're not meant to be reading every second of every day of every, you know, of every week. So some people would definitely call that a reading slump, but I'm like, sometimes it's just, that's just the mood of the day. Like, you're not meant to be reading all the time. But yeah, I am very happy and content with the books that I picked. I think that they're definitely gonna be perfect for this month, and I cannot wait to share with you guys my December TBR. If you guys have any suggestions for me for the December one, as well as for our book club pick, please let me know. I do have one in mind that you may start thinking about right now. It's called The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year. The cover alone, it's iconic. I just love that like graphic novel, comic book look. I love the illustrations and I love the name. It's just perfect. So I'm hoping that it is a hit. That is honestly probably the one that I would want to read. We're also This isn't the December TBR. I was about to tell you another one, but you guys already know about Little Women, so that's another one that we are going to be reading as well. But I don't think I would put that on my the book club pick. If you guys have any other suggestions, please leave them below so that way I can poll you guys next week so we can figure out exactly what we're going to be reading for our Atlas Literary Society book club on Fable. Join before December so we can all read together and get this show on the road for just another month of reading, I suppose. I just cannot believe that the year is over. I can believe it, but I can't believe it. You know what I mean? Oh, it's insane. Anyways, like the video if you do, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks again for watching. Bye.